The moment reverberates through my very soul. My own son. The very boy I nurtured, fed, clothed, and cherished with every fibre of my being, loomed at the top of the stairs, arms crossed, his voice slicing through the air like a blade of ice. "You're merely a tenant in this place now, Mum. The rules you once wielded with an iron fist have slipped from your grasp, leaving you powerless in their wake." I stood paralysed, my heart pounding in my chest. The spoon in my hand betrayed me, slipping from my grasp and crashing to the floor with a deafening clang that echoed through the silence. My chest constricted, a vice of dread tightening its grip. I could hardly believe my ears. Doubt crept in like a thief in the night, whispering that I must have misheard him. Yet he stood there, unyielding, a statue amidst the chaos. He loomed over me, his wife sprawled on the couch behind him, that infuriatingly smug smile plastered across her face, the very embodiment of victory in her eyes. The kind of smile that screamed, "Behold, I triumph." I felt the urge to unleash a primal scream, tears welling in my eyes, my hands trembling as I grasped his shoulders, demanding with every fibre of my being, "This is my domain, I crafted this existence for you." But instead, I found myself frozen in place, in my own kitchen, feeling like an outsider, a mere tenant in a space that once felt like home. And then, in a moment that would change everything, I made a decision. In the stillness, a tempest brews beneath the surface, waiting to erupt, a force to be reckoned with. As the clock ticked away, I plotted my daring escape, ready to sell the house, while he toiled away at work, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in his absence. But first, allow me to unveil the harrowing tale of how we arrived at this moment. For this treachery was not born in a single night. It expanded, a sinister fissure in the glass, threatening to shatter everything in its wake. It began as a mere whisper, a flicker of chaos, but soon it erupted, consuming all in its path until nothing remained but fragments of despair. 3 years ago, the shadows of the past loomed large. In a world filled with uncertainty, I stand before you, a mere whisper of fate. My name is Caroline. At the age of 64, life unfolds like a gripping tale, each chapter filled with unexpected twists and turns. For a lifetime, I have toiled relentlessly, first as a school secretary, then juggling part-time hours at the library, all while embracing the tumultuous role of a mother. When my husband succumbed to the merciless grip of cancer, my world shattered into a million irreparable pieces. He was the very essence of my existence, the heartbeat of my soul, the love that ignited a fire within me that could never be extinguished. The man, a titan of grit and determination, forged our family home from nothing but raw ambition and sheer willpower. Under that roof, we nurtured our sole son, Ethan, with every ounce of love and hope we could muster. In every shadowed corner of that house, we forged memories that would haunt us forever. In the haunting silence of that vast, empty house, I lingered for nearly a year, a widow cloaked in solitude after my husband's untimely departure. The silence hung thick in the air, a suffocating weight that threatened to crush all hope. It was then, in the midst of chaos, that Ethan approached me, his eyes alight with a daring notion. "Mum," he declared, his voice trembling with an unspoken weight, as we sat in the dim light of the living room, teacups trembling in our hands. "What if we took the plunge and moved in together? Just you, me and Angela. Can you imagine the chaos that would unfold? It shall be a path paved with ease for each and every one of us. We shall rise to the occasion, bearing the weight of your burdens, ensuring your needs are met with unwavering support. No longer shall you walk this path in solitude." I recall the bittersweet smile that danced upon my lips, as tears threatened to spill from my eyes. My heart ached with the weight of his absence. Ethan was a ghost haunting my every thought. I believed that his presence could resurrect the very essence of this home, breathing vitality into its stagnant corners. Who could have foreseen that smile, once a beacon of joy, would ultimately become a harbinger of regret? The initial warning bell tolls ominously. In the beginning, it was nothing short of magnificent. Ethan, the harbinger of joy, swept through the sombre halls, igniting a spark of laughter that had long been extinguished. His presence transformed the air, filling it with echoes of mirth that danced like shadows in the twilight. Angela was a paradox, her politeness a chilling veneer that masked an unsettling distance, leaving an air of tension in her wake. I prepared dinner for everyone, reminiscent of those cherished days gone by. They uttered a heartfelt thank you, their voices trembling with emotion, as if the weight of gratitude hung heavy in the air. In a moment of unexpected camaraderie, they stepped forward, hands trembling with the weight of unspoken tension, to tackle the mountain of dishes that loomed before them. But then, in an instant, everything spiraled into chaos. With a heart pounding and a vision ablaze, Angela plunged into the chaos of redecoration, each brushstroke a declaration of her defiance against the mundane. Without a single word of inquiry, in a heart-stopping twist of fate, my vibrant blue curtains were mercilessly stripped away, leaving only a dreary shade of grey in their wake. In a heart-wrenching twist of fate, my beloved dining room table was unceremoniously shoved into the dark confines of the garage, all to accommodate a sleek, modern glass monstrosity that I had never desired. "Oh, Mother, it's merely a matter of style. The house demands an update," Angela would declare, dismissing it with a flick of her wrist as if I were a mere child, desperately clutching a shattered toy. Then, with a voice trembling on the edge of anticipation, Ethan dared to ask if they could claim the master bedroom. "For the moment, Mother, as it looms larger and Angela carries a child within her." I relinquished it, my silence a heavy shroud of unspoken turmoil. Oh, how I dreaded the thought of becoming a weight upon their shoulders. I convinced myself it was just a fleeting moment, a mere whisper of time that would soon fade into oblivion. In a whirlwind of emotions, they welcomed a baby girl into their lives. Lucy, a radiant little angel, whose mere presence ignited a spark of joy and wonder in their hearts. For a fleeting moment, I dared to believe that perhaps, just perhaps, the tides would turn in my favour. In the shadows of sacrifice, I became the guardian of Lucy, tending to her needs while they toiled away. I changed her diapers, my hands trembling with the weight of responsibility, sang lullabies that echoed through the silence of my forsaken evenings, relinquishing my freedom, my very essence, my privacy, all for her fragile existence. And yet, the shadows linger. I whispered to my soul, "This is family, this is love, an unbreakable bond, a heart-wrenching truth that echoes through the shadows of my existence." But love should never suffocate, should never constrict like a vice around the heart. The house, once a distant dream, now stands as their own, a fortress of secrets and whispered promises, echoing with the weight of their triumph. Months dragged on, each one heavier than the last, as time itself seemed to conspire against hope. Then, a year passed, shrouded in uncertainty and anticipation. Angela's belongings lay strewn across the room, a chaotic testament to her presence, as if the very air crackled with the remnants of her hurried departure. Without a word, Ethan seized control of the bills, leaving me in stunned silence. In a moment that sent shockwaves through the household, he boldly declared, "I've changed the Wi-Fi password." With a glint of determination in his eyes, he added, "Don't worry, Mum, I'll handle everything from now on." The air crackled with tension as the weight of his words hung heavy in the room. In an instant, it became painfully clear I was stripped of all power, my voice silenced in the chaos that surrounded me. One fateful morning, I stepped into the kitchen, only to be met with the startling sight of a contractor, tape measure in hand, meticulously assessing the walls as if they held secrets waiting to be unveiled. "What is happening here?" I demanded. "Oh, did Ethan fail to mention it to you?" Angela's smile cut through the tension like a knife, a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos that surrounded her. "We're about to shatter the wall, unleashing a torrent of possibilities in this space. It will elevate the home's worth to astonishing heights. What is the value of this home?" In the depths of my mind, a thought flickered like a candle in the dark, trembling with uncertainty and anticipation. Who dares to dwell within these walls? Yet, I remained silent, as I always do. The document that shattered the very foundations of reality. On a tempestuous, rain-soaked afternoon, Ethan stormed into my life, clutching a stack of papers that seemed to pulse with secrets untold. "Mum, it's time we make a bold move and put the house in all our names." Ah, the tangled web of legalities, the relentless march of taxes, Mere formalities that loom ominously, don't you see? My heart raced, caught in a tempest of uncertainty. Yet, the price has already been paid in full. Your father bequeathed it to me. I know, he whispered, his voice trembling with unspoken truths. But it will serve as a lifeline should the unthinkable occur. We shall be shielded from the storm that looms ahead. It remains your domain, a fortress of memories and secrets untold. We are merely orchestrating the chaos that unfolds. And in a moment of sheer folly, I affixed my signature. I barely skimmed the surface of it. How could I have been so blind? I placed my faith in him, my own flesh and blood, only to be met with betrayal that cut deeper than any knife. The weight of that trust now hangs heavy in the air, a haunting reminder of the shattered bond between us. Why on earth would I not? The dinner that shattered my very soul. It was a Sunday night when everything shattered into a million pieces. In a whirlwind of culinary passion, I prepared a feast that would make the heavens weep. Roast chicken, succulent and golden, accompanied by creamy mashed potatoes that whispered comfort, and vibrant green beans, a tribute to Ethan's heart. It was a meal crafted with love, destined to stir emotions and ignite memories. Angela's fork hovered above the plate, a silent testament to her turmoil as the food lay untouched, a stark contrast to the chaos within her heart. As I diligently cleared the dishes, she mindlessly scrolled on her phone, oblivious to the chaos that was about to unfold. In a moment of sheer disaster, Lucy unleashed a torrent of juice upon the unsuspecting rug, a vivid stain marking the scene of this domestic tragedy. "Oh, for heaven's sake!" I exclaimed, rushing with fervour to rectify the chaos that had just unfolded. Angela erupted. "It's merely juice, a simple liquid, yet it holds a world of secrets within its vibrant depths. Perhaps the moment has come for you to cease this charade, as if this place belongs to you." My hands, paralysed in the act of cleaning, were gripped by an icy dread. Ethan stood there, silence enveloping him like a thick fog, his lips sealed as if bound by an unbreakable vow. The air crackled with tension, each heartbeat echoing the unspoken turmoil within him. In that moment I pivoted sharply, locking my gaze onto him. "Ethan!" In that electrifying moment he uttered the words that would change everything. "You're merely a tenant in this place now, Mother. The rules you once wielded with an iron fist have slipped through your fingers, leaving you powerless in their wake." The rag slipped from my grasp, falling to the ground in a moment of utter disbelief. All that I was crumbled into dust. Sleep eluded me that night, a cruel spectre haunting my every thought. With a heavy heart, I perched on the edge of my bed, my gaze fixated on the cold, unyielding floor beneath me. And then, in a moment that felt like an eternity, I summoned the courage to pull open the drawer. Within those walls lay the very deed I had inscribed, a testament to choices made and destinies entwined. My eyes devoured every word, every single word, a dagger poised to pierce the silence. My name stood boldly among the rest, yet theirs loomed ominously beside it. In a tumultuous partnership, they stand as co-owners, their fates intertwined in a web of ambition and rivalry. Power had been bestowed upon them by my own hand. Yet, I clutched a final card close to my chest, a secret that could shatter the very foundations of this twisted game. How dare they question my authority? I still possessed the undeniable right to sell. Little did they realize the truth that lay hidden in the shadows, waiting to unravel their very existence. Not yet. The tension hangs in the air, thick and palpable, as the clock ticks ominously, each second stretching into eternity. The scheme unfolds. As dawn broke, Ethan stepped into the chaos of the day, the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders as he ventured into the storm of his workplace. In a moment that would alter the course of her life, Angela departed, her heart heavy with unspoken words, bound for her sister's side. I lingered in the shadows, my gaze fixed on Lucy, just as I always did. But the moment they vanished, I seized the phone and dialed 3 times, each ring echoing like a heartbeat in the silence that followed. One destined for the cunning real estate agent, another for the shrewd lawyer, and the last, a fateful message to a buyer I had already crossed paths with. An old friend of my husband, a man of bold promises, once declared with fervour, "If you ever want to sell the house, call me first." As the week drew to a close, an unexpected offer emerged, shrouded in tension and anticipation, an astonishingly remarkable one. In the depths of my soul, I harboured a secret so profound, a truth that trembled on the edge of revelation. I didn't tell Ethan. Angela remains in the dark, oblivious to the truth that hangs heavy in the air. But I stood there, a silent witness as they drifted in and out, oblivious to the chaos swirling around us, as if everything was perfectly ordinary. Within me, a tempest brewed, poised to unleash its fury. It was the final dawn before everything unravelled. On that fateful morning, as the sun rose with an eerie glow, I stood in the kitchen, flipping pancakes, unaware that everything was about to change forever. Ethan's smile pierced through the air, a haunting reminder that the past lingered just beneath the surface, as if nothing had ever transpired between us. Angela swept by, her gaze fixed ahead, as if I were nothing more than a ghost lingering in the shadows. "Farewell, Mother. Remember, the clock strikes 1, and the world must hush for Lucy's sacred slumber." I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down around me like a thunderous storm. And the moment the door slammed shut, I seized the folder lying ominously on the table. It clutched the signed documents, a silent witness to the unfolding drama, each paper a testament to promises made and destinies entwined. The house was sold, sealing its fate in a whirlwind of emotions and whispered secrets, leaving behind echoes of what once was. That fateful afternoon, the mantle of ownership was poised to shift, a moment heavy with anticipation and unspoken tension. Only the moment remained, the heavy weight of truth poised on the precipice of revelation, ready to shatter the silence. And in that moment, clarity struck me like a bolt of lightning. I knew precisely when I would make my move. The house pulsed with an unsettling energy that day, as if it were alive, whispering secrets in the shadows. Though the world outside remained unchanged, the photo frames on the wall whispered secrets of the past. The scent of baby powder lingered hauntingly from Lucy's room, and the fridge hummed its monotonous tune. A tempest brewed within me, signalling that something profound had shifted in the depths of my soul. Fear had abandoned me, leaving only the thrill of defiance in its wake. I was not confused, not for a single moment. I had transcended the role of mere mum. I was a woman on the brink, driven to the edge by relentless forces beyond my control. And now, with every ounce of defiance coursing through my veins, I was pushing back. With a deliberate grace, I approached the table, each movement a haunting dance of tranquility, as if the world around me held its breath in anticipation. My gaze fell upon the kitchen clock, its hands frozen in time at 10:42 a.m., a moment suspended in the air, heavy with unspoken tension. By the stroke of 4 p.m., the house would slip through our fingers, no longer tethered to any of us, a haunting reminder of what once was. Except for the man who was buying it, Mr. Howard, my late husband's friend. He had the audacity to grant me full control until the fateful handover next week. What a tangled web we weave. I had meticulously orchestrated every detail, ensuring that I could remain within those walls for as long as my heart desired. He knew. The weight of that knowledge hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as if the very walls were closing in around him. A storm brewed within, a tempest of secrets and unspoken truths, ready to erupt at any moment. The world around him faded, leaving only the deafening silence of realization. He knew, and nothing would ever be the same again. He grasped the gravity of the moment. His voice shattered like glass when I laid bare the truth over the phone. "Oh, how vividly I recall the words of your husband, declaring with fervour that this very house was his grand gift to you," he proclaimed. "It was meant to remain untouched, forever frozen in time." A smile crept onto my lips, delicate yet laden with unspoken secrets. And so, with a heavy heart and trembling hands, I returned to the kitchen, where the sweet scent of flour and sugar beckoned me like a siren's call. Indeed, the art of baking. In a moment of nostalgia, I crafted cinnamon rolls, the very essence of Ethan's cherished childhood delights. Why, oh why, do I find myself in this abyss of uncertainty? The answer eludes me. slipping through my fingers like sand in an hourglass, leaving me in a whirlwind of confusion and despair. Perhaps it was the haunting memory of the boy who enveloped me in syrupy embraces, not the man who transformed my sanctuary into a mere stage for his drama. At the stroke of 11:15, Lucy stirred from her slumber, her dreams shattered like glass, leaving behind an unsettling silence that hung in the air. With trembling hands, I cradled her fragile form, offering her the soft, yellow mush as she chattered away in a whirlwind of delightful gibberish, her tiny fingers pulling insistently at my sweater, weaving a tapestry of innocence and chaos. She possessed her father's piercing gaze, yet mercifully, she was spared the venomous words of her mother. I found myself consumed by the haunting question of what kind of woman she would ultimately become. I dared to hope. Not at all like Angela. I bore her into the living room, where shadows danced and memories lingered, and there I sat, my voice trembling as I hummed the haunting melody my husband once sang, each note a ghost of the past. In a fleeting breath of tranquility, the echoes of yesteryears surged forth, wrapping around the heart like a bittersweet embrace. Yet, deep down, I sensed the tranquility was but a fleeting illusion, destined to shatter into chaos at any moment. Angela stormed back in at the stroke of 1:30 p.m., her presence electrifying the air with unspoken tension. The front door groaned ominously as it swung open, and then, like a piercing siren in the night, her high-pitched voice sliced through the silence on the phone. Absolutely not. It has been nothing short of a nightmare. She struts around as if the very ground beneath her feet belongs to her alone. With a fierce determination burning in my heart, I vow that the moment Ethan relinquishes his grip on control, I will unleash a whirlwind of transformation upon the kitchen. It stands there, a relic of a bygone era, clinging to the shadows of irrelevance. Oh, the horror. That wretched table remains, an unyielding presence in this chaotic realm. She froze, her eyes widening in disbelief as they locked onto mine. As I sat at the dining table, the air thick with tension, I carefully fed Lucy, each bite a dramatic pause in our unfolding story. I gazed upward, a smile breaking across my face, as if the heavens themselves had conspired to bring forth this moment. "Welcome back," I declared, my voice trembling with uncontainable emotion. Angela's gaze sharpened, a storm brewing within her as my cheerfulness pierced through the tension like a dagger. "Is there something amiss?" "No," I exclaimed, thrusting the soft toy into Lucy's trembling hands, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. "Everything is perfectly fine, or so it seems." But beneath the surface, the storm brews, ready to unleash chaos at any moment. Her gaze pierced through me, a lingering moment that felt like an eternity, before she turned away, slipping past in silence, leaving a void of unspoken words in her wake. She was thrown into a whirlwind of unease, and I adored it, with a fervour that consumed my very soul. As the clock struck 5, Ethan stepped through the door, the weight of the world heavy on his shoulders. By that moment, every document lay beneath my pen, sealed with my signature, binding me to an irrevocable fate. Mr. Howard had delivered the confirmation, a moment heavy with anticipation. The house had vanished, leaving nothing but echoes of its former glory in the air, a haunting reminder of what once stood proud and defiant against the passage of time. Not to them. To me, it had vanished into the abyss. But the papers were mine now, and the trap was laid with sinister precision. Angela approached him, her lips poised for the customary peck on the cheek, a seemingly innocent gesture that crackled with unspoken tension. I stood in the dimly lit hallway, my heart racing as I clutched a brown envelope tightly behind my back, the weight of secrets pressing down on me like a storm about to break. Ethan's smile pierced the air, a glimmer of light in the encroaching shadows. "Mother, oh, how the weight of the world hangs heavy upon us. Is everything all right today?" I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down around me like a thunderous storm. What I'm about to reveal is nothing short of crucial. "Shall we take our seats?" His smile dimmed, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. Angela's body went rigid, a primal instinct surging through her veins, whispering ominously that something was dreadfully amiss. We gathered at the dining table, tension thick in the air, as unspoken words hung like a storm cloud above us. The very table they once dismissed as cheap now looms large in their memories, a haunting reminder of what was and what could have been. With a trembling hand, I set the envelope down on the table, pushing it slowly toward Ethan, my heart racing as I clasped my hands together, bracing for the storm that was about to unfold. With a swift, electrifying motion, Angela seized it just before his fingers could graze its surface. "What in the world is this?" "Open it," I commanded, my voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of tension. With a fierce determination, she ripped it apart, her eyes darting wildly across the contents. Her face went pale, as if the very essence of life had been siphoned away. Ethan snatched the paper from her trembling hands, his eyes narrowing into slits as he devoured the words before him. His lips quivered, a silent storm brewing with each line he uttered, a haunting dance of unspoken words. At long last he raised his gaze. "You sold the house?" I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down around me like a thunderous storm, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my decision. "To whom shall this revelation be unveiled? You simply cannot. Mum, this is where our hearts reside, our sanctuary amidst the chaos." My voice, a serene whisper amidst the chaos, held an unwavering strength. "You dare to label me merely a tenant here, Ethan." The moment had arrived. I could no longer linger in the shadows of indecision. It was time to move, to break free from the chains that bound me. Angela's hands crashed onto the table, reverberating through the room with a thunderous intensity. "This is utterly outrageous. You kept us in the dark. How could you?" "I didn't have to," I exclaimed, the weight of my defiance hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. "Do you not recall? We are bound by the chains of co-ownership." And yet I clung to the undeniable truth that I still possessed the power to sell. And just like that, it's gone sold to the highest bidder, leaving echoes of what once was. Ethan rose to his feet, his steps frantic, a storm brewing within him. "You didn't even grant us a fleeting moment of opportunity. We would have. Oh, the twists and turns of fate. What could have been, if only the stars had aligned." The tension hangs thick in the air, a palpable reminder of dreams unfulfilled and paths untaken. A haunting echo of what lies just beyond our grasp. What could possibly have been? What dark secrets lie beneath the surface? I demanded. "Are you really asking for more rules? They dared to move me to the basement. You've already seized my room, my voice, my very peace. You transformed my sanctuary into your empire. You dared to say I was an outsider, that I had no place in this world." Angela let out a derisive laugh, her eyes narrowing with disdain. "In a twisted dance of vengeance, you embark on this path, fueled by nothing but spite." I rose with deliberate slowness, locking my gaze with hers, the tension crackling in the air between us. "No, I'm doing this because, at long last, the shadows have lifted, and I have unearthed the truth of my very existence." Ethan stood there, enveloped in a suffocating silence, the weight of unspoken words hanging heavily in the air. He seized the paper once more, poring over its words as if sheer will could reverse the irrevocable truth hidden within its lines. "You can't do this," he whispered, his voice trembling with desperation as the weight of the moment hung heavy in the air. "Where shall we venture next?" "Lucy? Lucy will be fine," I declared, my voice trembling with a mix of certainty and dread. "Both of you are ensnared in the relentless grind of work. You're not just any ordinary beings, you are grown adults, standing on the precipice of life, with choices that echo through the corridors of time. Seek out a dwelling, a sanctuary amidst the chaos, just as I once did in the fervent days of my youth. I triumphed against all odds. You too can rise from the ashes of despair and seize your destiny." Angela's face contorted in a tempest of rage. "We relinquished our lease, abandoning it all to embark on this new journey. Once, you embraced us with open arms, but now, like a cruel twist of fate, you cast us aside into the cold shadows of abandonment." I faced her, a chilling storm brewing within me. I stood there, arms wide open, ready to embrace the world with warmth and kindness. You were the very ones who sealed the doors, trapping me in darkness." She parted her lips, a tempest of thoughts swirling within, yet silence engulfed her, a deafening void where words should have been. The silence in the room thickened, a palpable weight pressing down on every soul present. Even Lucy, lost in her innocent play upon the rug, suddenly paused, her gaze lifting as if she could feel the tremors of an unseen storm brewing in the air. Then, with a voice trembling on the edge of revelation, Ethan uttered words that shattered my expectations. "Mother, you shattered my heart into a million pieces." And in that fleeting instant, my heart shattered alongside it, because the memory surged forth, unbidden, of the boy who once crafted magnificent blanket forts in the living room, a fortress of dreams and laughter amidst the mundane. The boy, a fragile figure, wept bitterly as the crimson droplets stained his tender skin, each tear a testament to his anguish over the mere scrape of his knee. The boy, with a heart full of innocence, once declared, "I shall care for you eternally, dear mother." But that boy had vanished into thin air, and the man who took his place had utterly forsaken the very essence of respect. With a piercing gaze, I confronted him, my voice steady, yet filled with an electric tension. "No, Ethan, you shattered my very essence." With a heart full of fury, Angela erupted from the room, her footsteps echoing like thunder in the silence that followed. Ethan sat there, a hollow shell, his gaze lost in the abyss of nothingness. I seized the folder, my heart racing as I stormed out of the dining room, hands quaking yet spine unwavering. I ascended the staircase, each step echoing with a haunting resonance, as if the very walls whispered secrets of the past. With trembling hands, I filled 2 bags, not for my own journey, but for Lucy's fate, a haunting echo of what was to come. For in that moment, despite the absence of blood ties, her innocence pierced through the darkness like a beacon of hope, and a chilling whisper echoed in my mind, foretelling that I would never abandon her. Not after the cataclysm that unfolded in the wake of that moment. My gaze locked onto the small pink hoodie cradled in my trembling hands, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within me. The air was thick with the lingering, haunting aroma of baby lotion, a ghostly reminder of innocence lost. With trembling hands, I meticulously folded it, each crease a whisper of love, before slipping it into Lucy's bag. There, nestled among her tiny socks, her bottle, and her beloved storybook, it lay an unspoken promise of adventure and comfort. The tale of the dancing fox, a story she insisted I revisit time and time again, each reading a haunting echo of its whimsical charm. Downstairs, an eerie silence enveloped the air, thick and suffocating. Silence reigns, a heavy stillness enveloping the air as tension crackles like electricity. No voices raised, no tempers flaring, only the weight of unspoken words hanging in the balance. Silence enveloped the air, a chilling void where footsteps should have echoed. The stillness was deafening, a harbinger of the unknown lurking just beyond the shadows. Only an oppressive silence hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as if the world itself held its breath, waiting for the inevitable storm to break. The kind that emerges in the wake of a tempest, when the air crackles with tension and the world holds its breath. With a heavy heart, I inhaled sharply, sealed the bag with finality, and descended the stairs, each step echoing the weight of my decision. Ethan remained frozen at the dining table, his hands gripping his head in a desperate grasp of despair. Angela was still absent, her return shrouded in an unsettling silence. With a heavy heart, I strode past him, silence hanging thick in the air, and reached for Lucy, cradling her from the confines of the playpen. With a mischievous glint in her eye, she lunged for my necklace, her laughter echoing like a haunting melody in the tense air. She stood there, heart racing, engulfed in a whirlwind of confusion, utterly unaware of the chaos unfolding around her. Unbeknownst to her, the very walls that had once cradled her dreams now stood as cold, unyielding sentinels, no longer hers to claim. And therein lay the heart of the turmoil. For she never sought the storm that now rages around her. I perched on the edge of the couch, cradling her in my arms, the tension in the air palpable as I bounced her softly on my knee, each movement a delicate dance of emotion. Ethan finally unleashed his voice, shattering the silence that had enveloped the room. "What are you doing?" "Packing," I declared with a voice that echoed through the silence, heavy with unspoken tension. For whom does this fate await? For her, the world trembled and the skies wept as fate wove its intricate web around their destinies. He blinked, a storm of confusion swirling in his mind. "You're actually taking Lucy?" I nodded, a silent agreement hanging heavy in the air, the weight of unspoken words crackling like electricity between us. For now, the silence hangs heavy, a breath held in anticipation, as the world teeters on the brink of revelation, until you and Angela confront the tempest within yourselves. He rose, defiance etched across his face, as the weight of the world pressed down upon him. "You cannot simply—" "Oh, but I can. Every single day, Ethan. You abandon her to my care. You regard me as nothing more than a mere caretaker. A shadow in your life. Unseen and unappreciated. But I am not just the help. I am your mother, and I have sacrificed more for this child than you could ever comprehend." He opened his mouth to protest, but I raised my hand, silencing him in an instant, the air thick with tension, as if the very world held its breath, waiting for the storm to break. "She will not be mine to keep. I'm standing guard over her, a fierce shield against the storm that threatens to engulf us both. For I find myself ensnared in the tempest of Angela's fury, a storm I dare not approach, and I have no faith that you will be able to halt her advance." Ethan recoiled as if I had struck him across the face. Oh, the weight of my words hangs heavy in the air. How could I have uttered such things in the heat of the moment? I never intended for those phrases to escape my lips. "Indeed you did," I proclaimed with fervour. "And that, my dear, is the very reason the pain cut so deep." He gazed down at his trembling hands, a storm of emotion swirling within him. "Mum," he breathed, his voice trembling with urgency. "What has become of us?" I gazed at him, my heart pounding in my chest, the air thick with unspoken tension. Gazed with intensity, and in that fleeting moment, he emerged from the shadows, that boy, haunting my thoughts once more. The one who once pressed their lips to my cheek before the dawn of each school day. Who wept in the dark, haunted by the terrors that danced in his dreams. Yet, he lay entombed in the depths of darkness. In the shadow of pride, a tempest brews. Everything hangs in the balance, a fragile thread of order amidst chaos. In the shadow of Angela, what on earth transpired? I repeated, my voice echoing in the silence, a haunting refrain that lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken tension. You turned away, deaf to the words that hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. She spoke for you, her voice echoing in the silence, a haunting melody of unspoken truths and hidden desires. You allowed her to diminish my very essence. She never intended for it to unfold this way. Do not dare to defend her, I commanded, my voice slicing through the air like a knife. From the very first moment she laid bare the truth. I was nothing but an obstacle in her path. You have just cast me aside, aiding her in this cruel betrayal. He paced once more, his fingers digging into his temples as if trying to erase the chaos swirling in his mind. Angela is about to erupt in a storm of fury and disbelief. Indeed, I uttered those words. That is precisely why I implore you to step into the role of a father at this very moment. Not a husband. The very notion sends shivers down the spine, a revelation that shakes the very foundation of trust and expectation. Not a son. The revelation hangs heavy in the air, a thunderclap of betrayal that shatters the very foundation of trust. The silence that follows is deafening, a void filled with unspoken words and shattered dreams. A father, a figure cloaked in shadows, a heart burdened with untold stories, standing at the precipice of fate, where love and despair collide in a tempest of emotion. Consider the fate of Lucy. He cast a desperate glance at the stairs, his heart racing, as if he anticipated his wife to burst forth in a whirlwind of emotion at any second. But there was nothing, only a deafening silence that echoed through the void, a chilling reminder of what once was, now reduced to mere shadows of despair. The crushing burden of choices looms over us, a relentless force that demands our attention and stirs our deepest fears. Then, the air thickened with tension, as if the very world held its breath, waiting for the inevitable clash of fate to unfold. A thunderous knock at the door, echoing through the silence like a harbinger of fate. I felt a surge of tension coursing through me. Ethan's brow furrowed deeply as he approached it, a storm brewing within him. As he pried it open, his jaw fell in disbelief, a gasp escaping his lips. Angela's sister loomed in the shadows, a figure of tension and unspoken words, crimson with fury. In a whirlwind of chaos, fear grips the heart, and the air thickens with tension. Every breath feels like a battle, every moment a ticking time bomb. The world spins out of control, and dread seeps into the very marrow of existence. "Have you laid your eyes upon Angela?" She just called me, her voice trembling with tears, a heart-wrenching symphony of despair echoing through the line. "She claimed your mother sold the house, and in that moment, everything shattered: your lives, your dreams, all laid to waste." Ethan, with a heavy heart, stepped aside, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. She stormed in, her gaze locking onto me as I cradled Lucy, her eyes narrowing with a fierce intensity. "What in the world is happening here?" I rose to my feet, each movement laden with tension. "The house has slipped through your fingers, a haunting echo of what once was yours. Behold, the truth unfolds before our very eyes." "I know that," she snapped, her voice slicing through the air like a dagger. Angela teeters on the brink of madness, her sanity unraveling like a frayed thread in a storm of chaos. She looms over you with a chilling ultimatum: return Lucy by nightfall, or face the storm of a custody battle that could shatter everything. My arms clutched Lucy with a desperate intensity. "Custody," I repeated, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. "She accuses you of snatching her child away." "She abandoned her in my care," I proclaimed. As the sun rose on yet another ordinary day, I stood firm in my innocence, unwavering and resolute. I did not steal a single thing. "Once more, you're stirring the pot," she spat with venom. "How could you? You always do this, don't you? The betrayal, the heartache. It's like a twisted play unfolding before my very eyes." Ethan's hand shot up, a silent plea for attention amidst the chaos. "Enough." His voice, a whisper cloaked in authority, cut through the air like a knife. Angela's sister gasped, her eyes widening in disbelief, as if the very ground beneath her had shifted in an instant. Ethan spun around, his eyes blazing with intensity. "Don't you dare walk away from me." My gaze locked onto him, a storm brewing in the depths of my eyes. "What on earth?" I pleaded, my voice trembling with desperation. "I can't bear the thought of you walking away." Ethan. The name hangs in the air, heavy with unspoken secrets and untold stories, a whisper of fate that beckons with a chilling allure. The house has been sold, sealing its fate in a whirlwind of emotions and finality. The ship, once a beacon of hope, has vanished beyond the horizon, leaving only echoes of what could have been. I couldn't care less. "We shall uncover a solution, no matter the cost." I simply... His voice shattered like glass. "I cannot bear the thought of losing you." I blinked, my eyes wide with disbelief. At long last, after what felt like an eternity, his voice pierced through the silence, resonating with the familiar echoes of my son once more. But just as I opened my mouth to speak, the front door exploded inward with a deafening crash. Angela. Hair a tempest, face aflame, eyes piercing through me like lethal blades. She burst through the door, a tempest of fury and chaos, darkening the room with her presence. "Give me my daughter," Lucy whimpered, her voice trembling with desperation, a haunting echo of a mother's anguish piercing the air. I clutched her tightly, as if the very fabric of reality might tear us apart at any moment. Ethan thrust himself between us, a barrier of tension and unspoken words, as the air crackled with unresolved conflict. "Angela, you must regain your composure. The storm within you is raging, but you must find the eye of the tempest." Don't you dare tell me to calm down." She shrieked, her voice echoing with a tempest of fury. "She's weaving her web of deceit around you, putting the house on the market, seizing our daughter away. Can you not see? This is no longer your domain," I declared with unwavering resolve. "How dare you raise your voice at me in this moment? I'll summon the authorities. Proceed, if you dare. Behold, the complete and unyielding documentation lies before me, a testament to the truth that cannot be denied. In a twist of fate, you entrusted Lucy to my care, and now the very walls of this house echo with the weight of new ownership." Angela's breath came in jagged gasps, each one a desperate plea for air. Her gaze pierced through the air, locking onto Ethan with an intensity that could ignite the very atmosphere around them. "Demand that she returns what is rightfully hers." He stood frozen, a statue in the storm of chaos around him. Ethan. The name lingers in the air, heavy with unspoken secrets and untold stories, a whisper that echoes through the shadows of fate. He spun around, his eyes blazing with intensity, as if the very air crackled with unspoken words. "May I dare to embrace her?" he demanded, his voice trembling with an intensity that could shatter glass. My heart raced, caught in a tempest of uncertainty. Then, with a trembling hand, she bestowed Lucy upon him, the air thick with unspoken tension. He enveloped her in his embrace, a sudden tenderness washing over his features. With a swift, desperate lunge, Angela reached out, her fingers grasping for her target, but he recoiled, retreating into the shadows of uncertainty. "No, Angela, you cannot just burst in here like a tempest. She is my daughter." In this very moment, she stands paralyzed by fear, her heart racing as shadows loom around her. Lucy pressed her face into his chest, trembling uncontrollably. Angela stood motionless, her breath caught in her throat. In that fleeting moment, it appeared before my eyes, a vision so startling it took my breath away. Her rage ignited like a wildfire, only to be doused by the chilling waters of guilt. But alas, it was fleeting. With a fierce determination, she seized her purse and erupted from the room, the door crashing shut behind her with a thunderous bang that sent tremors through the very walls. The room plunged into an eerie silence, a heavy stillness that wrapped around the air like a suffocating shroud. Ethan sank into the chair, his fingers trembling as they glided over Lucy's back, a storm of emotions swirling between them. I found myself perched on the edge of my seat, heart racing, as I sat beside him. Silence enveloped us, a heavy shroud of unspoken words hanging in the air. We were frozen in place, the weight of silence pressing down on us like a heavy shroud, shattered beyond repair, united in a moment that defies all odds. And I dared to believe, perhaps, just perhaps, that a glimmer of hope still lingered on the horizon. But I was utterly, devastatingly wrong. For it was on that fateful night, when Ethan, with trembling hands and a heart racing like a thunderstorm, dialed a number that would shatter the fragile peace and alter the course of their lives forever. It was never my intention to eavesdrop on his conversation. Yet, the hallway reverberated in the dead of night, his voice slicing through the wooden floorboards like the haunting footsteps of a solitary soul in a forsaken church. Ethan believed I was lost in slumber, unaware of the tempest brewing beneath the surface. Lucy had finally taken her place in the spare room next to mine, and there I lay in bed, eyes shut tight, until those two words pierced the silence, sending a chill coursing through my veins. In the world of real estate, fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye, where every deal hangs by a thread, and the stakes are higher than ever. The tension crackles in the air as buyers and sellers clash, each desperate to seize their moment in this cutthroat arena. Will dreams be realized? Or will they crumble into dust? The drama unfolds with every negotiation, every signature, every heartbeat echoing the relentless pursuit of success. I rose from my slumber, each movement deliberate, as if the weight of the world pressed down upon me. My heart pounded violently in my chest. Indeed, I am fully aware that she has parted with it. Yet, amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope flickers. There must be a loophole lurking in the shadows. I refuse to be bound by the chains of finality. There must be something lurking in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. He halted, straining to catch the faintest whisper of sound. Absolutely not. I did not put my name on any dotted line. She did indeed. But I am a co-owner as well. Doesn't that grant me the power I deserve? I couldn't care less that she brought me into this world. The battle lines have been drawn. This is war now. My fingers gripped the edge of the blanket, trembling with a mix of fear and anticipation. War? A tempest brews on the horizon, a clash of titans awaits. The air crackles with tension, and the ground trembles beneath the weight of impending chaos. Will the world be engulfed in flames, or will peace emerge from the ashes? The stage is set for an epic confrontation. That word echoed through my mind. A haunting revelation, so this was the moment of truth. Never a moment of regret. Not a mere reflection. Vengeance. A tempest brews. Dark clouds swirling with the promise of reckoning. The air crackles with tension as hearts pound in anticipation of the inevitable clash. A soul, wronged and tormented, rises from the ashes, fueled by a fire that cannot be extinguished. The stage is set for a confrontation that will shake the very foundations of fate itself. Ethan stood at the precipice of chaos, his heart a tempest of turmoil, not even attempting to mend the shattered pieces of his world. He was desperately clawing his way to victory. With a heart pounding like a drum, I stealthily emerged from the confines of my bed, my feet whispering against the chill of the floor beneath me. I crept closer to the vent in the dimly lit hallway, where his voice echoed with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. Oh no, she's playing her cards with a cunning twist. She has an ally in the shadows, a force unseen, ready to strike when the moment is ripe. An elderly man, a figure from her past, has insidiously acquired it, all under her name, casting a shadow of betrayal over her life. What if we dare to confront that? Perhaps we can halt the transfer just before it seals its fate. He was locked in a fierce conversation with a lawyer, desperately attempting to unravel the intricate web I had so meticulously woven. The sale! A moment fraught with tension, where fortunes hang in the balance and destinies are rewritten in the blink of an eye. The exit loomed ahead, a dark portal to the unknown, beckoning with an eerie allure. What lay beyond? Freedom or despair? The air crackled with tension, each heartbeat echoing like a drum roll, heralding the moment of truth. Would anyone dare to step through? The choice hung heavy, a weighty decision that could alter destinies forever. My freedom, a tempest of unbridled passion, a fierce battle against the chains that bind me. The very essence of my soul cries out for liberation, a desperate yearning that ignites the air with electric tension. Will I break free, or will the shadows of oppression consume me whole? The stakes have never been higher. I retreated into the shadows, my heart racing as I slipped away to the sanctuary of my room. I stood there, unyielding, as the storm of emotions raged within me. Not a single tear fell. I stood my ground, unyielding, as the storm raged around me. I didn't shake. My gaze was fixed upon the ceiling, swallowed by the suffocating darkness that enveloped me. Memories flooded my mind, each one a haunting echo of those sleepless nights spent by Ethan's side, his fevered brow glistening under the dim light, as I fought against the shadows of despair that threatened to engulf us both. Every packed lunch, each birthday celebration, the agonizing scraped knees, and the whispered bedtime stories echo in the shadows of memory. And now he was summoning lawyers to ensnare me within the very walls of the sanctuary I had offered him. My phone erupted with a jarring buzz on the nightstand, shattering the silence of the night. A chilling proclamation from Mr. Howard, echoing through the shadows of uncertainty. Prepare yourselves. The clock strikes 9 a.m. tomorrow, and the sale shall commence. Will you seize the moment or let it slip away? The anticipation is palpable. Every last piece of paperwork has been meticulously cleared, the final barrier shattered. Once it's processed, no soul can dare to interfere. I breathed my words into the air, a hushed confession that trembled on the edge of silence. Excellent. Yet, deep within, a tempest was brewing, a seismic shift that threatened to unravel everything I thought I knew. The pain had morphed into a tempest of emotions, swirling and raging within, consuming everything in its path. Determination. If Ethan dared to play hardball, I would show him the roots of that defiant streak coursing through his veins. For me, should the world unravel, I had to be prepared for the chaos that would ensue. Ethan stepped out of the shadows of the hallway, clad in his familiar button-up, a mask of nonchalance plastered across his face, as if the storm of chaos that had just unfolded was nothing but a distant whisper. "Morning," he declared, the steam from his coffee swirling like secrets in the air. I scrutinized him with an intensity that pierced through the very fabric of his being. He stood there, an unyielding fortress of tranquility amidst the chaos swirling around him, unbearably serene. I have seen it all now. He believed victory was within his grasp, a shimmering prize just waiting to be claimed. He believed me to be nothing more than a frail old woman, a mere shadow of my former self, who had stumbled into a grave error, and that he held the power to unravel it all. In the shadows they conspire, whispering secrets that slice through the air like daggers. Behind my back, the betrayal festers, a dark storm brewing in the silence of deceit. I smiled, a sweetness that masked the storm brewing within. As dawn broke, he pressed his lips gently against Lucy's head, a tender farewell, before making his way to the door. But just as he swung it open, my voice pierced the silence, halting him in his tracks. In the dead of night, you reached out to a lawyer. He stood there, paralyzed, as the weight of the moment crashed down upon him. His hand gripped the doorknob with a fierce intensity, as if the very fate of the world hung in the balance. With a deliberate slowness, he pivoted, the air thick with tension. "I heard it all," I declared, my voice trembling with the weight of the revelation. "Do not even think about denying it." His jaw tightened, a storm brewing beneath the surface. "You have forced my hand, leaving me with no alternative but to act. You have become your own worst foe, Ethan." In a world fraught with chaos, I stood my ground, fiercely guarding the sanctuary of my own peace. "You've shattered it all into a million pieces." "No," I declared, standing firm. "I preserved it all, every last piece, clinging to the remnants of what once was." His eyes burned into me with a fierce intensity, a storm brewing beneath the surface. "We are far from finished, Mother." With a heart pounding like a war drum, I took a bold step into the unknown. We are here, standing at the precipice of fate, where every heartbeat echoes with the weight of our existence. The papers, the final act, are set to be unveiled today at the stroke of 9. I checked, and the world trembled at the revelation. And should you dare to entertain any thoughts of rebellion? I raised my phone, trembling with anticipation. In a moment of sheer audacity, I captured every word of your call, each and every word laden with intensity. Incorporating this, we plunge into the chaos of war. His face drained of colour. "Oh, you simply wouldn't dare." "I would, without a shadow of a doubt, plunge into the depths of the unknown. And I shall. Should you dare to unleash your legal wrath upon me, know this. I will rise to defend my honour with every weapon at my disposal." And then there was Ethan. I whispered, my voice trembling with intensity. "Prepare for defeat. It's not merely the house. Prepare yourself, for the moment of truth is upon us. Lucy will slip through your fingers like sand, lost to the winds of fate." His gaze pierced through me, each breath a desperate gasp, heavy with unspoken tension. "I am your mother." "No," he declared, his voice slicing through the air like a knife. "You're nothing but a fleeting shadow. Fury ignites within, a tempest of rage unleashed. Would you not be, in the depths of your soul, consumed by the very thought?" Silence hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. He didn't answer. He vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a silence that screamed of unspoken farewells. I clutched Lucy tightly, the door slamming shut with a resounding finality behind him. I believed that was the final curtain call, but I was utterly, devastatingly wrong. At precisely 8:50 a.m., a sinister black car crept into the driveway, its presence heavy with foreboding. Angela emerged, flanked by two imposing police officers, their presence heavy with unspoken tension. Her smile was a beacon, a glimmer of light in the shadows that surrounded her, grinning with a sinister charm. With a trembling hand, I turned the doorknob, the creaking hinges echoing like a haunting whisper in the stillness of the night. With a sudden intensity, one officer emerged from the shadows. "Mom! You won't believe what just happened. We got a chilling report. An attempted kidnapping. We must confront you with a series of questions that demand your utmost attention." I blinked, my heart racing as the world around me shifted in an instant. Abduction? A sinister twist in the tale. Angela's voice pierced the air from behind him, a haunting echo that sent shivers down his spine. She snatched my baby away, her grip unyielding, and now she stands defiantly, refusing to return what is rightfully mine. She teeters on the edge of chaos. In a devastating twist of fate, she orchestrated the sale of our house, leaving us in a whirlwind of betrayal and disbelief. She's desperately attempting to flee alongside Lucy, the tension palpable in the air, as every heartbeat echoes the urgency of their escape. The officers pivoted towards me, their expressions a chilling mask of neutrality. "Mother, is the child trapped within these walls?" I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave of realization. Indeed. She's absolutely fine, yet beneath the surface, a tempest bruise, waiting to erupt. She lies there, lost in the depths of slumber, oblivious to the world around her. Behold, I possess irrefutable documents that unveil the shocking truth. The child was entrusted to my care of their own free will. In my possession lies undeniable evidence of the ownership transfer, a testament to the legal guardianship rights that were fiercely upheld throughout the tumultuous transition. Angela's smile faltered, a fleeting shadow crossing her face. The officer halted, a heavy silence enveloping the air, tension crackling like electricity around him. "Are those documents at your fingertips, ready to be unleashed upon the world?" "Indeed," I proclaimed. "Step into the shadows." Yet she lingers in the light, a haunting presence just beyond the threshold. Angela's voice trembled as she began to protest, but an officer, with a calm yet commanding gesture, urged her to remain where she was, the tension thick in the air. They crept in behind me, shadows lurking in the dim light, their intentions cloaked in mystery. With a dramatic flourish, I unveiled a heavy folder, its contents a cacophony of printed texts and a cascade of emails. The younger officer pored over the documents, each word a revelation, his head nodding in solemn agreement as the weight of the truth settled in. In that moment he picked up the phone, his heart racing, the weight of the world hanging in the balance as he dialed the number that could change everything. His words were lost to the chaos, yet the transformation of his expression was undeniable, a gentle thawing in the storm of his demeanor. Then, with a sudden, jarring finality, he hung up the phone and turned to face me, his expression a tempest of emotions. All appears to be in perfect alignment, yet beneath the surface, a storm brews, waiting to unleash its fury. "We extend our deepest gratitude for your unwavering cooperation." With a forceful swing, Angela stormed through the door, defying all boundaries of decorum. "Prepare yourself, for you are about to be swept away by her undeniable truth." The older officer abruptly halted her, a storm brewing in his eyes. "Mother, the child is secure, against all odds. And until the gavel strikes and the court delivers its verdict, the shadows of guilt remain uncast. If you harbour concerns, summon the courage to confront them in the hallowed halls of family court." Angela's face twisted in a tempest of fury. "You'll regret this." She spat, her eyes blazing with fury. I locked my gaze with hers, a tempest of emotions swirling between us. "No, I believe I shall finally embrace a slumber deeper than I have known in years, a tranquil escape from the chaos that has haunted my nights." She erupted from the room once more, a tempest of fury and despair trailing in her wake. As the officers departed, the clock ominously chimed, marking the arrival of 9. My phone buzzed one final, electrifying time, It is confirmed. Ownership has now been irrevocably seized, the final act of a dramatic saga unfolding before our very eyes. The final curtain falls, no more legal battles can be waged by the co-owners. Congratulations. The moment is electric, charged with the thrill of triumph and the weight of destiny. What a breathtaking achievement. As I sank into the depths of the couch, a heavy silence enveloped the room, thick with unspoken tension and the weight of unfulfilled dreams. Lucy lay in a restless slumber, her dreams swirling in a tempest of shadows and whispers. I beheld her fragile chest, a delicate rise and fall, and leaned in to whisper to her, my voice trembling with the weight of unspoken words. At long last, we have broken the chains that bound us. But little did I know, the price of freedom would be far more devastating than I could have ever fathomed. But as the clock struck midnight, Angela returned, shrouded in mystery and shadows, never alone, never with the police, with a threat that looms larger than life itself. Darkness enveloped the world, a shroud of mystery and foreboding. The air outside hung like a shroud, thick and suffocating, enveloped in an eerie silence that whispered secrets of impending doom. Silence hung heavy in the air, as if the very crickets themselves had been struck mute by the weight of the moment. I sat in the living room, the weight of the world pressing down on my shoulders, Lucy cradled in my arms, her head nestled against my chest, her breath a gentle whisper in the storm of chaos surrounding us. The house, my house, stood in eerie silence, a deceptive calm cloaking its very essence. Yet, the tension gripped me, refusing to let go. Angela had not made the call, leaving a chilling silence in the air. She had not sent a single text. And when a woman like Angela falls into silence, you can be sure that a storm is brewing on the horizon. I twisted the keys in the locks, my heart racing, and checked them not once but twice, as if the very act could ward off the impending doom lurking just beyond the door. The curtains were drawn shut, sealing away the world beyond. My phone lay close at hand, a silent sentinel in the shadows, waiting for the moment to unleash its secrets. Ethan had vanished into the shadows of the night, leaving behind a chilling silence that echoed through the empty halls. A chilling thought gripped me. What if he never returned? The uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud, casting shadows over my heart. Perhaps he had chosen to take refuge with a friend, shrouded in mystery and uncertainty. Or perhaps the weight of his shame was too heavy for him to bear, leaving him cowering in the shadows, unable to confront me once more. That part was excruciating, far more than I dared to confess. Then, at the stroke of 9:40 p.m., the doorbell pierced the silence, echoing like a harbinger of chaos. One resounding chime echoed through the air, a haunting sound that lingered like a ghostly whisper in the silence. With bated breath, I dared to glance through the window, my heart pounding in my chest. Angela. She stood there, a figure cloaked in shadows, her heart racing, for she was not alone. The air crackled with tension, and the weight of unseen eyes bore down upon her, igniting a storm of dread and anticipation. Two men loomed ominously behind her, their presence a dark shadow that sent chills down her spine. One towering figure, chiseled and imposing, with a gleaming shaved head that glints ominously in the light. The other, slender and trembling, with anxious hands buried deep within the confines of his hoodie pockets. Neither of them bore the semblance of those who came to converse. Angela's gaze pierced the door, a smile dancing on her lips, as if the very air crackled with unspoken tension. I recoiled from the window, my heart racing wildly in my chest. This was no mere visit. Behold, a message has emerged from the shadows, pulsating with urgency and intrigue. With a heart full of trepidation, I gently laid Lucy in her crib, the air thick with unspoken fears and the weight of the world pressing down upon us. With a swift motion, the nursery door was sealed tight from within, a barrier against the world outside, and emerged, gripping my phone with a fierce intensity. The doorbell rang once more, echoing through the silence like a harbinger of chaos. And then, with a thunderous crash, the banging erupted. With trembling hands, I dialed Ethan's number, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. He picked up on the second ring, the tension crackling in the air like a storm about to break. "Mother?" She has arrived. In the presence of two men, the air crackles with tension, secrets lurking in the shadows, and destinies intertwined in a dance of fate. They're hammering on the door, a relentless barrage that echoes through the silence, each thud a heartbeat of impending chaos. He muttered a string of curses, each word dripping with venom and despair. With every heartbeat, I draw closer, the air thick with anticipation and the weight of destiny upon my shoulders. I am on my way. Remain within these walls, for the outside world is fraught with peril. Do not dare to open that door. Who are they, Ethan? Tell me, for the shadows whisper secrets that beg to be unveiled. I fear she has taken a loan from someone, a shadowy figure lurking in the depths of her desperation. I warned her. I pleaded with her, but she defied me. With a fierce determination burning in her eyes, she declared that she would mend this, but only on her own terms. The walls closed in, suffocating, as if they were alive, squeezing the very breath from my lungs. The relentless banging escalated into furious kicking. I recoiled, heart pounding, as the weight of the moment crashed down around me. "Call the police!" he shouted, his voice trembling with urgency. At this very moment, with trembling hands, I severed the connection and frantically punched in the numbers for 911, pouring out the harrowing details of the chaos that had just unfolded. The dispatcher's voice crackled through the line, a harbinger of urgency, as they revealed that officers were already lurking in the shadows, mere moments away from my doorstep, their arrival imminent less than 5 minutes to unravel the chaos that had descended upon my life. I set the phone down, and in that very moment, a window exploded into a million shards in the laundry room. They were desperately clawing at the door, their intentions shrouded in a veil of darkness. I seized the cold, unyielding iron fireplace poker, my heart pounding as I positioned myself at the threshold of the dimly lit hallway, quaking with fear. Every muscle coiled like a spring, ready to unleash chaos. Angela's voice shattered the silence, reverberating through the jagged shards of glass, each note a haunting reminder of the chaos that had unfolded. "Open the door, Caroline. Hand over my baby now. This situation need not spiral into chaos." Silence engulfed the moment, a heavy weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. I chose not to respond. My hands trembled with a fierce intensity, yet my mind remained an unyielding fortress. I would never allow them to seize her from me. I refused to be gripped by their terror. I shall not taste defeat once more. Suddenly, the darkness was shattered as headlights pierced through the night, illuminating the street with an eerie glow. In an instant, a cacophony of blue and red lights erupted, casting an eerie glow through the front windows. Angela's piercing scream shattered the silence, echoing through the air like a siren of despair. I dared to glance outside, and there she was, retreating in a panic, while the two men sprinted away, each in a desperate bid for escape. In a heartbeat, officers erupted from the patrol car, their voices piercing the air with urgent commands. In a heartbeat, one man was brought down, the air thick with tension and disbelief. Before the other could even escape the grasp of the hedge, the cold metal of handcuffs clamped down, sealing their fate. Angela stood there, a figure frozen in time, her heart pounding like a drum in the silence that enveloped her. The air crackled with tension, each breath a reminder of the storm brewing within her. What would happen next? The world around her seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the inevitable clash of fate. Ice encased the world, a chilling silence enveloping everything in its grasp. As if the very fabric of reality had unraveled before her eyes, she stood there, disbelief etched across her face, grappling with the harrowing truth of it all. They shackled her as well. As they dragged her past the threshold, I flung the door wide open, locking my gaze onto hers with an intensity that could shatter glass. Her gaze pierced through the air, a silent storm brewing in her eyes. Fury ignites within, a tempest of rage brewing beneath the surface, ready to erupt at any moment. Utterly vanquished, unveiled. Why, oh why? I implored her, my voice barely a whisper, laden with unspoken tension. Why plunge into the depths of despair? You have shattered my existence. She spat, her voice dripping with venom. No, I said, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. You shattered your own fate the moment you lost the ability to treat others with kindness. Silence hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. She didn't reply. She was not bound by obligation. For the very first time since she crossed the threshold of this house, she found herself utterly powerless. She stood there, a hollow shell of her former self, with nothing left to cling to, nothing but the echoes of her shattered dreams. And I possessed every single thing I could ever desire. 3 weeks slipped away, shrouded in an unsettling silence. In a twist of fate, Angela found herself ensnared in the chilling grip of the law, facing grave charges of attempted home invasion and endangerment, her future hanging by a thread. The 2 men she had summoned were fugitives, their names echoing in the shadows of law enforcement across state lines, each harbouring a dark past of similar transgressions. Angela, released from the clutches of confinement, now stood on the precipice of freedom, yet a haunting shadow loomed over her. A decree bound her. A chilling distance of 500 feet separating her from me and Lucy, a barrier forged in the fires of past betrayals. With a heart heavy with unspoken words, Ethan made the fateful decision to leave, stepping into the unknown, leaving behind a world that would never be the same again. He penned a letter to me, the ink dripping with unspoken emotions. A lengthy saga unfolds. He uttered the words, "I'm sorry." But the weight of his remorse hung heavy in the air, a fragile whisper against the storm of emotions swirling around them. That he had spiraled into the abyss of his own despair. He allowed love to shroud his vision, leading him astray from the path of righteousness. He stood there, a shadow of despair, confessing his helplessness in the face of the wreckage he had wrought. With a heart heavy with regret, he dared to hope that one day I would find it within me to forgive him. The silence hangs heavy. I have yet to respond. Not yet. The tension hangs in the air, thick and palpable, as the clock ticks ominously, each second stretching into eternity. Perhaps in the distant echoes of time, a day will dawn. But today, the air crackles with tension, as if the very universe holds its breath, waiting for the storm to break. Shadows loom, secrets whisper, and the ground beneath our feet trembles with the weight of unspoken truths. Today is not just another day. It is the precipice of revelation, the moment where everything changes forever. As I perched on the porch, Lucy nestled in my lap. The sun cast its golden rays upon us, igniting a moment of serene bliss that felt almost surreal. She was safe at least, that's what they all believed. But shadows loomed, whispering secrets of danger lurking just beyond the light. I was safe, or so I thought, as the shadows loomed ever closer, whispering secrets of danger that sent chills down my spine. The house was mine, my sanctuary, my fortress, my very soul entwined within its walls. But now, shadows loom, and whispers of betrayal echo through the halls, taunting me with the bitter taste of loss. How could it slip through my fingers like sand, leaving only the haunting memories of what once was? And in that moment, after what felt like an eternity, I finally drew in a breath, as if the weight of the world had been lifted from my chest. I gazed out at the garden, a haunting reminder of my husband's once vibrant touch, now shrouded in silence and shadows. His voice danced through the air, a haunting whisper carried by the wind, echoing in the depths of my soul. You stood as the unwavering guardian of our sanctuary, Caro, just as I always anticipated you would. My lips curled into a smile, a fleeting moment of light in the shadows that surrounded me. He pressed his lips gently against Lucy's forehead, a soft whisper escaping his lips, laden with unspoken emotions. They declared me nothing more than a mere tenant in this place, as if my existence held no weight, no significance. The walls echoed their disdain, and shadows danced with the weight of their words. I cast my gaze about, my heart racing with anticipation. On the edge of the porch, where shadows dance and secrets linger, a moment hangs heavy in the air. The baby, a tiny bundle of joy, erupts into a fit of giggles in my arms, filling the air with an infectious laughter that echoes like a sweet melody, piercing through the silence of the room. The ominous structure looms behind me, casting a shadow that chills the very marrow of my bones. But I possess far more than merely these walls. I possess my tranquility, fiercely guarding it against the chaos that threatens to invade. The war had finally come to a close, and against all odds, I emerged victorious.